Good morning and welcome to Ask the Security Guy. I am Holly Magnuson. Once again, I'm here with Sean Corman for this special edition public service announcement. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. Yeah, so a little bit unscheduled.
Yeah, but hey, we're going to make this quick and short, so we want to honor your time. And we'll start with the first question I have is, what is this California COVID-19 app that keeps popping up wanting to be installed on my phone?
All right, so if you have an Android phone, you're probably getting prompted by Google, the Play Store, to install the California COVID Notify app. This is an application that the framework underneath it was developed by a joint partnership with Google and Apple. The apps are being developed usually by states or entities that are hired by states to develop it. In our case, in California's case, the California Department of Technology, in partnership with a few other groups, wrote this app, we believe, using the Google template application that was already provided. Don't know for sure, but at least that's what's out there. So yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. If you have an Apple device, it's already built in to iOS. So the operating system already has this application built in. You would just have to turn it on for the specific state that you're in.
Okay, so what exactly does this app do?
So the Notify app on both platforms, Apple and Android. Again, on Android, you have to install it. On Apple, you have to turn it on. It's already there. In either case, if you decide to use this, what it does is it uses Bluetooth to basically sense out other people within range. So Bluetooth has a long range of about 30 feet. And some phones vary a little bit, a little bit more, a little bit less, but 30 feet is about, kind of the max range for Bluetooth. Within that range, if your phone has the COVID Notify app running, and either on either platform, let's say you're in the grocery store and somebody else does too, your two devices will talk to each other. Now, if neither one of you have tested positive, which heaven forbid that you have, if you have tested positive, we'll talk about that in a second. But if neither one of you have tested positive, it's basically a handshake that happens completely transparent to you. It's random IDs being exchanged. So there's no personally identifiable information being exchanged between the two devices. But they check with each other to say, hey, have you tested positive? And do you have have you chosen to notify? If you have not, nothing happens that you see. On the back end, what the phones do is they record each other's random IDs, and that's where the data stays. It's on your phones. Now, if you have tested positive and you have used the Notify app to scan a barcode that will be provided at a testing center, that's where things get a little different. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, then you can choose. Again, none of this is automatic. There are multiple layers of you have to choose to notify others around you, to share your information with the state for the statistics tracking. It does not use GPS location tracking at all. So that's not at play. What happens if you have that scenario played out? So heaven forbid, you've tested positive, you've scanned it, you've decided to share that information and to notify others. Back at the grocery store again, for some reason you're there. Now, when someone comes within range and they have the app, they immediately get a notification on their phone that says you've been exposed or potentially exposed to someone who's tested positive. So now, mind you, that's within a 30-foot range. So take that as you will. But that's how the notification process works. Now, again, random IDs being exchanged back and forth. Even if you've tested positive, you are not giving anybody else other than the state any information about you. And in the state, you're just transferring up, random IDs as well. You're not giving personal information unless you choose to. So a lot of this is based on choice. I have to really compliment Google and Apple on this. They developed a framework that was designed from the outset to protect privacy at a technological level as much as they possibly could. I've received some questions about, can this app be abused to dig into people's privacy? It is possible if you've tested positive and you scan the barcode that a testing center will have. It is very difficult to do that and to reverse engineer this. But as with all things in security, nothing's impossible, but there are a lot of degrees of improbable. I would say reverse engineering this is highly improbable, but not impossible.
So yeah, because that was going to be my final question is, should I be concerned about my privacy if I chose to use this app?
Right. I don't think there are any undue concerns about privacy with this one. Whether or not you test positive, either way, there are a lot of regulations already in place that protect health information specifically, and this falls under the category of health information. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of HIPAA.
Yep.
There's that, and there's a few others that govern how this data is protected, how it's stored, how it's transmitted, who has access to it. And the regulations around that are very, very strict and specific, and so are the consequences if you fail to comply. So that law has some teeth to it, and everybody knows it. I mean, HIPAA is one of those things that a lot of healthcare providers consider the bane of their existence, but unfortunately, it exists for good reason.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. Good information. We'll have on the YouTube page, we'll have the links to some information about this app. Any other thoughts you want to share about this topic, Sean?
We also have an article up on support.ap.edu that I wrote to provide some more detail than we're going over in here. And then the California Notify app also has a web page. If you go to the app, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a link to their web page, and they have a lot of really good information there, a good FAQ, and where they really unpack their security protections and why they're doing what they're doing and how they're doing it. So there's a pretty good degree of transparency there, which for a lot of folks is a must. When you're dealing with health information, especially in these times where people are scared, having one more layer of fear is not a good thing.
No.
So again, it's a tool that if you choose to use it, I don't believe you're presenting undue risk to yourself or your family or others around you for that matter. The system was designed to be decentralized, meaning unless the specific events are triggered, meaning someone tests positive and decides to share that information. Again, this is all based on choice. Everything other than that stays on your phone or somebody else's phone. There's no central repository of this being collected, which is the kind of thing we want to see for something that's going to go population-wide.
Very true. Well, that's it for this topic. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, remember you can always reach us at iso@apu.edu. Again, that is, if I find the right one, iso@apu.edu. And with that, we wish you a Merry Christmas. If you're watching this after Christmas, Happy New Year, and an exceptional 2021.
Well, it's a low bar of improvement over 2020.
Very good.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.